using Nivea's Men Post Shave Balm. And just space that all over my face. This is just to set the foundation for my skin. My skin's pretty oily, and this just helps with keeping that skin dry throughout the day, and keeping makeup in place. Skipping over my eyebrows, because I've already showed you guys how to do that, I am going to be applying my foundation, Maybelline Fit Me in the color Toffee, with my powder brush from e.l.f. Just apply a little to my hand, and then I dip it and I apply it everywhere. And I know you're thinking like a powder brush to apply foundation, it works for me, whatever works for you, but I just love the application and how smoothly it goes on, and it's a very thin layer, not too much, not enough. Quick tip, ladies, never forget to blend those ears and that neck as well. They need love too. Total face brush from e.l.f. I'm going to be applying my Fit Me powder. It is matte, of course, and I just apply this to the top of my face, the top of my foundation, just because it gives me a nice airbrushed finish. And I just apply a very thin layer. LA Pro concealer, of course. I'm going to be applying that in my typical highlighting areas, under the eyes, the bridge of the nose, the forehead, and the jawline. And I'm just going to tell you guys that I just do it typically because, not because it's just because everybody does it, but it's those tend to be the places that us women want to highlight, just because, you know, you want your eyes to look nicer, you do want your nose to look slimmer, you know, you just want all of that to be able to pop, but not too much. So I got it in the color Natural, and I just apply that everywhere, and I apply it everywhere just for balance. Then I apply my Prep and Prime spray by MAC onto my beauty blender, and I blend it all out. And I dab, 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 dab. Never rub, you dab. Never rub. I pretty much kept my entire blending part in there because I just want you ladies to see exactly how I blend everything out. I don't want to be skipping around and just giving you the idea that it's like blending takes like a minute or a second, because it takes it takes a good amount of time. It takes up most of your time. Blending is all you're doing half of the time when you're doing makeup, and I just have to say that it's very essential. And if you really want your makeup to look as nice as it can, have time for that. Like, take time out and blend your makeup with the beauty blender, and then also with a blending brush. e.l.f. beauty blending brush. I'm going to blend all of that concealer down into my foundation, just as I'm doing, just to get rid of the harsh lines before I actually set the concealer in place. And I do want to mention that you don't have to use finishing spray on your sponge when you use it to blend out your concealer, but I would recommend that it's wet when you use it. It helps spread it so much more evenly, and it's not all bulgy, and then it doesn't all just stay on the sponge, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I just kind of blend all of that down into my foundation so it looks more natural. Boost. I know everybody uses the Mercier setting powder, but it is amazing. I just use that basically everywhere that I put the concealer, and I love it because it doesn't leave you ashy. Now, I will say that there are there's plenty of dupes out there, but this is probably by far the best thing you could probably spend your money on when it comes to helping you blend and helping you bake. And it ranges in prices, but it's worth it, I promise. Then I'm going to be dusting it away with that Total brush that I showed you guys. And then I'm going to be applying my bronzer from my LA Color palette, and with my blush brush. And I do have to say the application with the blush brush, the e.l.f. blush brush, that's a tongue twister, is amazing. I mean, I can't even stress that enough. Like, I don't use the angled brush because I don't like the way it sometimes applies to my face. but it's such an airbrush finish when you use the blush brush. I highly recommend this when you're applying your bronzer. I do the e.l.f. blush brush, in case you're wondering. And I apply that all over the corners and the edges of my face, but specifically in the hollows of my cheekbone and then under my jawline to help create a more sharper shape of my face. Then with my angled brush that I do still have, it's from e.l.f. as well. I just use that to apply it to my nose. And this step I usually skip, but some days I do kind of want to define my nose. But my nose is pretty small and I really don't need to define it. But this is a great step if you want to make your nose look slimmer and you want to draw more attention to the bridge of your nose. I'd highly suggest just getting a little bronzer and applying it to your nose. And then I get my blending brush and I blend all of that in. And I do recommend that you blend that bronzer from the hollows of your cheekbones upward and not down, so that way you can keep the nice little line that you started with the concealer at the bottom of your face right there under your cheekbones. So I just kind of blend it. I blend the bottom of the bronzer in, but I also blend it upwards more than anything. Then I apply a little more just to kind of connect the dots. I don't want to look like I specifically applied it just to the hollow of my cheekbone. And you get it as dark as you want, but you don't want it too dark. You can't have too much bronzer. And then again, I blend. And I do recommend that you blend every product into the concealer, so everything's kind of blended with each other. So you blend the bronzer on the forehead inwards, and then you blend all the rest of it inwards towards your face, because you kind of want the highlight to go outwards, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to be using my buffer brush to apply my highlight from RIMMEL. I'm using the buffer brush because it does exactly what it says. It buffers my bronzer and my highlighter together so it looks more natural. And I'm not a big fan of a lot of highlighter. I like just enough, which is what I'm applying. And I'll apply it to the tops of my cheekbones, on top of my lip, my top lip, and then my nose and my forehead. My MAC Prep and Prime, I spray that all over my face. I get my Total Face brush, which still has a little Fit Me and a little translucent powder, and I just kind of dab that in so everything blends together. Using Revlon's liquid eyeliner in the color Blackest Black, I will be applying my eyeliner, which is a ritual thing for me. It's like my favorite step. Just kind of shows my artsy skills a little bit. It's also very time consuming, but I've had a lot of practice with this, and I do suggest buying like not liquid eyeliners but gel liners to practice on. But when you get better off in it, you should definitely use liquid eyeliners because your eyes will be popping. By ColourPop is my all-time favorite lipstick. It just goes with my skin so well, and it looks more natural than anything. And in summertime I don't really like that matte look because it'd be like I'm literally thirsty, so I'll apply a little cheap gloss from Forever 21 that's also in the same color, just to give it a little shimmer, and it doesn't dry out on me. I hate matte lipstick in the summer, I kid you not. Can't forget the mascara. This is Maybelline's Colossal Volume. I always apply mascara before I apply my falsies, just to give them a nice foundation. Falsies isn't something I do every day. It's very rarely, actually, because I've just learned how to do it recently, so I'm not really perfect at it, and some days I just don't be having time. I just want to kind of get up out of there. The purpose of the video is to just show you ladies how affordable my look is, and I don't mind using these products every day because they're inexpensive, and I recommend them to beginners, especially because when you're learning, you know, you tend to use a lot of a product and you know you want to practice on it, and I personally would not want to practice on something that costs me an arm and a leg. So my recommendation is start cheap and then work your way up. Don't just go out buying palettes that, you know, famous YouTubers recommend. You want to know what works best for your skin and what's going to work best for you and your budget. So I say go to Walmart, go to Walgreens, start small, and then branch out.